Be me, 35-year-old Kimberly. Work as a corporate sustainability consultant. Always prided myself on being emotionally intelligent and setting healthy boundaries. Believed I had mastered the art of maintaining genuine friendships with men without leading them on. Thought I was a model of how progressive relationships should work. Wake up Tuesday morning feeling particularly lonely after another failed dating app interaction. Decide to reach out to Benjamin, my go-to emotional support friend from college. We'd stayed close for over a decade. He was always there when I needed to vent about work or dating disasters. Pull out phone to text him about this absolutely insufferable client meeting I had yesterday. Wait, what? His contact is gone. Check WhatsApp. Blocked. Check Instagram. Blocked. Check Facebook. Blocked. What the actual hell, Benjamin? Okay, maybe his phone got hacked or something. Decide to reach out to Ezra instead. Ezra and I met at that environmental law conference 3 years ago. He's always been such a good listener, never tried to mansplain my problems away like other guys. Ezra would definitely want to hear about this promotion opportunity I'm considering. Pull up his contact, also gone. Check all social platforms, completely blocked across everything. This is getting weird. Heart starting to race a little. Maybe it's some kind of coordinated cyber attack. Try to contact James from my hiking group. James who always made sure I had water on long trails. James who drove me to the airport at 5 a.m. last month without complaining. James who I could always count on for practical advice about apartment hunting or car troubles. Blocked everywhere. What is happening? Hands literally shaking now as I scroll through my contacts. Try Ryan from my old job. Ryan who always brought me coffee when he noticed I was stressed. Ryan who spent hours helping me prepare for my current position. Ryan who celebrated my victories like they were his own. Blocked. Try Sebastian from book club. Sebastian who always recommended exactly the books I needed to read. Sebastian who listened to me analyze every paragraph of my favorite novels. Blocked. This has to be some kind of mistake. Try calling Benjamin from my work phone. Number disconnected. Try Ezra's work email. Bounce back message about blocking my domain. What the fuck is going on? Decide to drive to Benjamin's apartment. We've been friends for 12 years. Surely this is all some misunderstanding. Knock on his door for 10 minutes. His neighbor Patricia comes out. Oh, honey, Benjamin moved out last weekend, didn't he tell you? No, Patricia. He definitely did not tell me. Apparently, he took a job in Portland and didn't mention it to his supposed best friend. Drive by Ezra's usual coffee shop, where he works remotely most Wednesdays. See him through the window, walk in confidently because obviously there's been some technical error. Ezra, thank God, I've been trying to reach you all morning. He looks up from his laptop with the strangest expression, not angry, not sad, just empty. Kimberly, I asked you not to contact me anymore. When did you ask that? I never got any message. 3 weeks ago, when you told me about Trevor. Wait, what does Trevor have to do with anything? Trevor was just some guy I met at my cousin's wedding. Had a few good dates with him, decided he wasn't really my type. Shared that story with Ezra because that's what friends do. Tell each other about their dating lives. Ezra, I don't understand why you'd block me over me dating someone. I'm not blocking you over you dating someone, Kimberly. He closes his laptop slowly. I'm blocking you because you spent 45 minutes telling me how Trevor was everything you'd ever wanted in a man. You described him as brilliant, funny, emotionally available, and physically attractive. Then you said you weren't going to see him again because the chemistry just wasn't quite there. And then you asked me to help you draft a text, letting him down easy. Still not seeing the problem here. Ezra, that's what friends do for each other. I value your perspective on these things. Right, just like you valued my perspective when you told me about Nathan, and David before that, and Michael before that. He's packing up his laptop now. I spent 5 years listening to you describe your ideal man. Every single trait you listed, I have. Every single quality you said you were looking for, I've demonstrated. But you've never once considered me as anything more than your personal relationship counselor. Feel my face getting hot because this is so unfair. Ezra, I was always honest about us being friends. I never led you on. You're right. You were completely clear about that. He stands up and puts his bag over his shoulder. Which is exactly why I'm being completely clear now. I don't want to be friends anymore. Ezra, you can't just throw away years of friendship because you have feelings. Watch me. He walks out, and I'm sitting there completely stunned. This is not how mature adults handle interpersonal conflicts. Ezra and I had something really special, and he's destroying it over romantic feelings I never encouraged. Drive home in complete confusion. Decide to do some investigation into what's happening. Log onto my laptop and check if maybe there's some social media bug affecting all my male contacts. Notice I have a missed LinkedIn message from 2 weeks ago. It's from Sebastian. Hi, Kimberly. I wanted to let you know I'll be taking a step back from our friendship. I've really valued our book discussions and intellectual connection over the past year, but I've realized I need to be honest with myself about my feelings for you. Since you've made it clear you see me only as a friend, I think it's best if we don't continue our regular contact. I hope you understand and find the deep conversations you're looking for with someone else. Take care. What the hell, Sebastian? Check. My message history with him. Find my response from 2 weeks ago that I barely remember sending. That's totally fine, Sebastian. I completely understand you need space to process your feelings. Thanks for being mature about this. Maybe we can reconnect as friends once you've worked through everything. Take care. Oh my God, I am such an idiot. I thought he meant like a temporary break, not a permanent friendship ending. How was I supposed to know he meant forever? Start going through my message history with Benjamin. Find a conversation from 3 months ago I'd completely forgotten about. He'd mentioned feeling conflicted about something. I'd responded with my usual supportive friend advice. Benjamin, you know I care about you so much as a friend. You're one of the most important people in my life, and I'd never want to lose our connection. Whatever you're going through, we can work through it together as friends. Scroll up to see what he'd said that I was responding to. Kimberly, I need to tell you that somewhere along the way, my feelings for you became more than friendship. I know you don't feel the same way, and I don't want to make things weird between us, but I can't keep pretending I'm okay with just being friends when I want more. Oh fuck. And I responded by emphasizing how much I valued our friendship, effectively rejecting him while asking him to continue providing emotional support. But that's not what I meant to do. Check my texts with James from the hiking group. Find a similar conversation from 6 months ago. He'd told me he had feelings for me after that overnight camping trip where we talked all night by the fire. I'd said something about how our friendship is too important to risk on romance, and I hope we can keep being hiking buddies because you mean so much to me. Apparently, James decided hiking buddies wasn't enough for him. Start to feel sick as I realize what's been happening. Go through Ryan's messages. Find where he'd asked me out for dinner as more than friends last year. I'd declined, but suggested we keep our amazing friendship going because I couldn't bear to lose him from my life. Apparently, Ryan could bear to lose me from his life just fine. Every single one of these guys had confessed feelings. Every single one I had turned down romantically while emphasizing how much I valued their friendship. Every single one had apparently decided that friendship wasn't enough. And every single one had now cut me off completely. This is so unfair, though. I was honest with all of them. I never led anyone on romantically. I clearly communicated my boundaries. I valued their friendships genuinely. How is it my fault that they couldn't handle adult friendships with women? But now I'm looking at my phone and realizing something absolutely terrifying. Every single man I would normally turn to for emotional support is gone. Benjamin, who I told about work problems. Ezra, who helped me navigate family drama. Sebastian, who discussed books and philosophy with me. James, who gave practical life advice. Ryan, who was my voice of reason during dating disasters. Who am I going to text when I have a bad day? Who's going to help me move next month like Ryan promised? Who's going to recommend books when I finish my current reading list? Who's going to tell me I'm being reasonable when my boss is being unreasonable? Start scrolling through my female friends. Realize most of my close friendships are with women who are married with kids. Sarah hasn't responded to my last 3 texts because she's dealing with her toddler's sleep regression. Michelle is completely overwhelmed with her new baby. Andrea moved across the country for her husband's job. Jessica is going through her own divorce drama and can barely handle her own problems. The reality is hitting me that my deepest emotional connections were with these men. They were the ones who had time for long conversations. They were the ones who prioritized my problems and concerns. They were the ones who made me feel heard and supported and valued. And now they're all gone. Every single one blocked me simultaneously. Like they all got together and planned this. Wait, maybe they did get together and plan this. Check if any of them follow each other on social media. Ezra and Benjamin have mutual friends. James and Ryan work in similar industries. Sebastian knows Benjamin from that reading group I introduced them to. Oh God, what if they actually did coordinate this? What if they all compared notes about how I treated them? What if they realized they were all in the same boat, all providing emotional labor for a woman who would never see them as anything more than friends? But that's not fair. I wasn't using them. I genuinely cared about them as people. I appreciated their friendship. I never asked them to have romantic feelings for me. Try calling my sister Emma for perspective. Emma, something really weird is happening. All my guy friends have blocked me. Oh, honey, what did you do? Nothing. That's what's so confusing. I was always completely honest with all of them. Honest about what? Explained the whole situation about how they all had feelings and I maintained friendship boundaries. Kimberly, how long did you stay friends with them after they confessed feelings? I don't know. Months, years in some cases. Why does that matter? And during that time, did you still go to them for emotional support? Well, yeah, they were my friends. Long pause from Emma. Kimberly, put yourself in their shoes for a second. They told you they had romantic feelings. You said no to romance, but yes to continued friendship. Then you continued to treat them as your primary emotional supports. You kept going to them with your dating problems, work stress, family drama. You kept accepting their help, their time, their emotional energy, all while they knew you would never see them romantically. How long did you expect that to be sustainable? For them, Emma's questions are making me uncomfortable. Emma, friendship is supposed to be unconditional. If they were really my friends, they should have been able to handle my dating life. Kimberly, listen to yourself. You're saying that men should be able to handle being emotionally intimate with women who will never be romantically available to them. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's called emotional maturity. No, Kimberly, that's called emotional torture. Hang up on Emma, because she's clearly not understanding the situation. Emma has been married to the same guy since college. She doesn't understand modern friendship dynamics. I know the difference between leading someone on and maintaining healthy boundaries. These men are just proving they never actually valued me as a person. They only saw me as a potential romantic conquest. But sitting alone in my apartment, I'm starting to feel the full weight of what's happened. No one to text about my day, no one who will listen to my work problems, no one to help me process my thoughts and feelings, no one who makes me feel intellectually stimulated, no one who makes me feel supported and valued. Try to work from home but keep getting distracted. Usually when I'm stressed, I'd text Benjamin random thoughts throughout the day, or call Ezra when I needed to talk through client problems, or message Sebastian about whatever book I'm reading. Now there's just silence. Realize I don't even know how to be alone with my thoughts anymore. For years, I've been externally processing everything through these friendships. Every emotion, every decision, every experience was shared and validated. Now it's just me and my own brain, and I don't know how to handle that. Try calling my mom, but she just wants to talk about why I'm not married yet. Kimberly, you're 35. Maybe it's time to be less picky. Mom, I'm not being picky. I just haven't found the right person. What about that nice young man, Benjamin, you always talk about? You two seemed perfect for each other. Explained that Benjamin and I were just friends, and now he's moved to Portland. Moved to Portland? Kimberly, did you know he had feelings for you? How did you know that? Oh, honey, every time you talked about Benjamin, it was obvious he was in love with you. He was a friend, Mom. And you never considered him romantically because... Can't actually articulate why I never considered Benjamin romantically. He was intelligent, kind, funny, attractive, emotionally available, literally everything I claim to want in a partner. but somehow the romantic spark just wasn't there for me. Hang up feeling even more confused. Maybe I do have impossibly high standards. Maybe I've been rejecting perfectly good men for arbitrary reasons. But you can't force romantic feelings that aren't there, right? Spend the evening trying to distract myself with Netflix. Keep reaching for my phone to share funny observations with someone. Keep starting to type messages and then remembering there's no one to send them to. This is the loneliest I've felt in years. Wake up Wednesday with a brilliant idea. I'll reach out to one of them through a mutual friend. Surely once they understand that I genuinely valued their friendship, they'll be willing to talk. Message Benjamin's friend Todd, who I met a few times. Hey Todd, I'm trying to get in touch with Benjamin, but I think there's some technical issue with his phone. Could you pass along my number and ask him to call me? Todd responds an hour later. Kimberly, Benjamin asked me to tell you that he's not interested in reconnecting. He's doing well in Portland and wants to keep moving forward. But Todd, we were friends for 12 years. Surely we can work through whatever misunderstanding happened. It's not a misunderstanding, Kimberly. He knows exactly what happened and he's made his choice. This is absolutely insane. Benjamin and I had something really special. We understood each other in ways that most people never experience. We could talk for hours about anything and everything, and he's throwing all of that away because I didn't want to date him. Try reaching Sebastian through his book club friends. Get basically the same response. Apparently, Sebastian told everyone he needed to focus on building relationships with people who could reciprocate his feelings. What does that even mean? I reciprocated his friendship feelings perfectly fine. Try reaching out to Ezra's colleague who I met at a work event. Get an even more direct response. Kimberly, Ezra asked me to tell you that he's not playing the Friendzone game anymore. Those were his exact words, the Friendzone game. Like I was playing some kind of manipulative game. I was never manipulating anyone. But the phrase keeps echoing in my mind. Ezra said he wasn't playing the Friendzone game anymore. What if all these men have been talking to each other? What if there's some kind of movement where men are deciding not to be friends with women who won't date them? Do some research online about men refusing friendship after romantic rejection. Find all these articles and forum posts about men going their own way and refusing to provide free emotional labor to women. This is so gross and misogynistic. The idea that friendship is only valuable if it might lead to sex. The idea that emotional support is something men should only give to romantic partners. But I keep reading, and some of the posts are starting to make me uncomfortable. I spent 3 years being her unpaid therapist while she dated jerks. She would call me crying about guys who treated her badly while I treated her perfectly, and she never even considered me. I realized I was putting more emotional energy into supporting her than she was putting into supporting me. The moment I stopped being available 24/7, she didn't even notice I was gone. That last one hits different. When is the last time I checked in on Benjamin's well-being just because? When is the last time I asked Ezra about his problems without sharing mine first? When is the last time I initiated support for any of them instead of seeking support from them? Realize with growing horror that most of our conversations started with my problems, my work stress, my dating disasters, my family drama, my apartment issues. They would listen and offer advice and comfort, and then the conversation would usually end. I didn't typically ask follow-up questions about their lives, start going through old text conversations with fresh eyes, message after message of me venting about problems, messages of them offering thoughtful responses and solutions, messages of me thanking them and then disappearing until the next crisis. Very few messages of me asking how they were doing. Find a conversation from last year where Benjamin mentioned he was stressed about his job situation. My response was basically, "Oh, that sucks. Anyway, here's this weird thing that happened to me today." I completely changed the subject to myself. How did I not notice this pattern? Find a conversation where Ezra mentioned he was feeling lonely. My response was, "I totally understand. Dating is so hard these days." Speaking of which, this guy from Bumble, I turned his vulnerability into a launching pad for my own dating stories. What the hell is wrong with me? Start feeling genuinely sick as I realize how one-sided these friendships actually were. I thought I was maintaining healthy boundaries. But really, I was maintaining relationships where I received emotional support and gave very little back. I was treating them like unpaid therapists, not like true friends. But I genuinely cared about them. I would have been there for them if they had really needed me. They never explicitly asked for more support from me. How was I supposed to know they needed more reciprocity? Except they did ask, in subtle ways. Benjamin mentioning his job stress, Ezra mentioning his loneliness, Sebastian sharing his struggles with his writing, Ryan talking about his difficult family situation, Ames mentioning his financial worries, and I either changed the subject or gave brief sympathy before refocusing on myself. Try to think of a single time I called one of them just to check in on their well-being, or texted asking how their day was without having my own agenda, or offered to help them with something without being asked, coming up completely blank. The horrible truth is starting to sink in. I wasn't actually their friend. I was someone who took their friendship while giving minimal friendship in return. I was so focused on maintaining romantic boundaries that I failed to maintain friendship reciprocity. But even realizing this, I still don't think they handled it correctly. If they felt unappreciated or unsupported, they should have communicated that, instead of just disappearing without explanation. Mature adults talk through relationship issues. Decide to write a heartfelt email to Benjamin explaining my realization. Spend 2 hours crafting the perfect message acknowledging my mistakes. Explain how I understand now that I wasn't reciprocating emotional support appropriately. Promise to do better if he's willing to give our friendship another chance. Send it to his work email before I lose courage. Get an auto response immediately. Thank you for your email. I am no longer responding to messages from this address. If this is a work-related matter, please contact my assistant. He set up an autofilter specifically for my email address. This is beyond just blocking social media. This is complete communication shutdown. Try writing similar emails to Ezra and Sebastian. Both bounce back immediately. They've blocked my email addresses entirely. Start crying for the first time since this whole thing started. Not just because I miss them, but because I'm starting to understand something terrible about myself. I genuinely thought I was a good friend. I thought I was emotionally intelligent and mature. I thought I understood healthy relationship dynamics. But I was apparently so self-centered that I didn't even notice I was taking more than I was giving. So oblivious that I thought one-sided emotional support was normal friendship. So entitled that I expected men to continue supporting me emotionally even after I rejected them romantically. The worst part is that I still don't fully understand why romantic rejection should end friendship. If someone truly cares about you as a person, shouldn't they want to maintain connection even without romance? Isn't cutting off friendship after romantic rejection proof that the friendship was never real? But then I think about how I would feel. Imagine if I had deep feelings for someone who kept me close for emotional support but would never consider me romantically. Imagine listening to them talk about dating other people while I provided comfort and advice. Imagine being their go-to person for problems while knowing I would never be their go-to person for love. Actually, that sounds like emotional torture. That sounds like a special kind of hell. Maybe Emma was right about that. Try calling Emma back to apologize for hanging up. Emma, I think I'm starting to understand what you meant. About the emotional torture thing. Yeah, I think maybe I was putting them in an impossible situation. Kimberly, imagine if someone you had feelings for kept you around as their therapist while dating other people. How long could you handle that? Probably not very long. Now imagine they got upset at you for needing space to protect your own emotional well-being. I would think they were being incredibly selfish. Long pause as that sinks in. Emma, am I incredibly selfish? I think you're incredibly unaware of how your actions affect other people. But I never meant to hurt anyone. Impact matters more than intent, Kimberly. Spend the rest of the week in a weird emotional limbo, trying to process work problems without my usual support network, trying to make decisions without external validation, trying to exist in my own thoughts without constantly sharing them. Realize how dependent I had become on male attention and validation. Not romantic attention, but the attention of men who cared about my thoughts and feelings. Men who made me feel interesting and valued and heard. Men who were always available to listen and respond. Now that it's gone, I feel like I don't know who I am. So much of my self-image was built on being the kind of woman that thoughtful, intelligent men wanted to be close to. Even if they couldn't have me romantically, they valued my friendship enough to stay connected. Except apparently they didn't value my friendship. They were enduring my friendship while hoping for something more. Start wondering if any man has ever actually enjoyed being my friend, or if they were all just waiting for romantic possibilities. Start wondering if I'm capable of real friendship with men, or if I'm too self-centered to give the reciprocity that friendship requires. Get a text from an unknown number on Friday. Kimberly, this is Benjamin. I'm texting from a new phone to ask you to please stop trying to contact me through other people. I don't want to be cruel, but I need you to understand that our friendship is over. It's not because you didn't want to date me. It's because you never actually acted like my friend. You acted like I was your personal support system. I realized I was putting more energy into caring about your life than you were putting into caring about mine. That's not friendship. It's emotional dependency. I hope you can learn from this and build healthier relationships in the future, but I can't be part of that process. Please respect my boundary and don't contact me or anyone connected to me again. Read the message 15 times. He's saying I never acted like his friend, but I talked to him constantly. I shared my thoughts and feelings with him. I trusted him with my vulnerabilities. How is that not friendship? Except he's right that I didn't put energy into caring about his life. I put energy into sharing my life with him, which is completely different. Friendship means caring about the other person's well-being as much as your own. Friendship means emotional reciprocity. Friendship means being interested in their problems, not just sharing your own. Friendship means supporting them through their struggles, not just being supported through yours. I was never actually Benjamin's friend. I was someone who used Benjamin for emotional support. Someone who took his care and attention without giving equal care and attention back. Someone who kept him in my life because of what he provided for me, not because of what I could provide for him. The same is probably true for Ezra and Sebastian and James and Ryan. I thought friendship meant sharing your authentic self with someone. But really, friendship means caring about someone else's authentic self as much as your own. Realize I need to completely restructure how I approach relationships. Can't expect people to provide emotional support without reciprocating. Can't maintain intimate friendships with people who want romantic relationships I can't provide. Can't depend on others for validation and self-worth. Spend the weekend alone for the first time in years. No texting anyone about my thoughts. No calling anyone about my feelings. No seeking external validation for my experiences. Just sitting with myself and my own mind. It's terrifying and uncomfortable, but also oddly enlightening. Start noticing how much mental space I have when I'm not constantly processing everything through other people's perspectives. Start having thoughts and feelings without immediately needing to share them. Start making decisions without external input. Realize this might actually be healthy. Maybe I needed to lose these relationships to understand how dependent I had become. Maybe being cut off from male emotional support is forcing me to develop actual emotional independence. Still think they could have handled it better. Still think true friendship should be able to survive romantic rejection. Still think their response was somewhat extreme, but I can't deny that Benjamin's message contained truth. I wasn't putting equal energy into caring about their lives. I was treating them like support systems rather than full human beings with their own needs. I was being emotionally selfish while thinking I was being emotionally mature. Don't know how to fix this, or if it's even possible to fix. Don't know if I'll ever have close male friendships again. Don't know if I'm capable of the kind of reciprocity that real friendship requires. But for the first time in weeks, I'm not panicking about being alone. Starting to think maybe I need to learn how to be alone. Starting to think maybe depending on others for emotional regulation was never sustainable anyway. Starting to think maybe this painful lesson was necessary. Still miss Benjamin and Ezra and all of them. Still wish things could have been different. Still don't fully understand why romantic feelings have to ruin friendship. But maybe that's not the right question. Maybe the right question is why I expected people to continue giving me emotional energy when I wasn't giving it back. Maybe the right question is how I can become the kind of person worth being friends with. Maybe the right question is what I can offer others instead of what others can offer me. Sit in my apartment on Sunday evening, completely alone, for the first time in years. No one to text, no one to call, No one to validate my thoughts or feelings. Just me and the quiet and the uncomfortable realization that maybe this is exactly what I need.